Have you ever wondered why life seems so challenging at times? What role does God play in these trials? Life, in all its beautiful complexity, is a journey filled with peaks of joy and valleys of hardship. It's an adventure, a challenge, a test. As we traverse this winding path, we often encounter trials that test our strength, our resilience, our faith. These trials come in many forms. They could be a loss of a loved one, a betrayal from someone we trusted, a failure that shakes our confidence, or neglect from those we care about. They could even be a personal struggle, such as battling an illness or overcoming an addiction. These are the challenges of life. They are part and parcel of our human existence. They are the storms we must weather, the mountains we must climb, the battles we must fight. But where does God fit into all this? What role does He play in our trials? God, in His infinite wisdom and love, is not a distant observer. He is with us in the trenches, walking with us through the fire. He is our guide, our strength, our shield. He doesn't promise a life devoid of challenges. Quite the contrary. What He does promise, however, is His unending support and guidance through these trials. He promises to equip us with the strength and courage we need to face our challenges head-on. So, when we find ourselves in the midst of a storm, we must remember that we are not alone. God is with us, guiding us, strengthening us. He uses these trials to shape us, to mold us into the people He wants us to become. They are not punishments, but rather opportunities for growth, for learning, for becoming stronger, wiser, more resilient. Life's challenges may seem daunting, but they are not insurmountable, not with God by our side. As we venture into the depths of our struggles, we find God's presence, a beacon of hope amidst the tempest. Throughout history, countless individuals have faced unimaginable trials, yet they found solace and strength in their faith. Consider the story of Sarah, a single mother of two, who lost her job in the midst of a global pandemic. With bills to pay and mouths to feed, her situation seemed dire, but Sarah held on to her faith, praying for guidance and strength. She began volunteering at a local food bank where, in a twist of fate, she met a small business owner who was so moved by her story and her spirit, he offered her a job on the spot. Sarah's faith carried her through a season of despair and into a place of provision and hope. Now, let's reflect on the journey of James, a young man who was born into poverty and violence. His early years were marked by hardship and survival. Many expected him to follow the same destructive path that had claimed so many in his community, but James had faith. He believed in a higher power, in a God who had better plans for him. He sought solace in his faith, and it was this faith that led him to a mentor who recognized his potential. With his mentor's guidance, James earned a scholarship to a prestigious university, dramatically altering the course of his life. His faith became his beacon, guiding him towards a brighter future. And then there's the story of Lily, a woman who was diagnosed with a life-threatening illness. The prognosis was grim, but Lily refused to give in to despair. She leaned on her faith, drawing strength from her belief in a God who heals and restores. She prayed for healing, and against all odds, her condition began to improve. Today, she lives a full and vibrant life, a testament to the power of faith amidst trials. These stories serve as powerful reminders that no matter how dark the night, faith can be our guiding light. It can provide us with the strength to push through the toughest of trials and lead us towards a brighter, more hopeful future. In the darkest nights of their lives, they found a guiding light in their faith, in their God. God's support is not an occasional occurrence. It is constant, consistent, and unwavering. Now let's delve into this concept of God's constant guidance, a beacon that shines throughout our lives, even when we might not readily see it. Imagine you're walking through a dense forest. The path is murky and the way forward unclear. Suddenly, a ray of light pierces through the canopy, illuminating a path that was hidden. This is akin to how God's guidance works. It's not always evident. especially when we're amid turmoil. Yet it is always there, leading us, guiding us, even when we feel utterly lost. Consider the story of a man down on his luck, jobless and on the brink of homelessness. He was at his wits' end, with seemingly no way out, until one day he stumbled upon a job listing that seemed tailor-made for him. He applied, got the job, and his life took a turn for the better. This wasn't a random stroke of luck. It was a manifestation of God's constant support, subtly guiding him towards a path of redemption. Or take the instance of a woman diagnosed with a severe illness. She was devastated. Her world turned upside down. But through her journey, she met others battling similar battles, found strength in their shared experiences, and eventually recovered. She later started a support group, transforming her ordeal into a beacon of hope for others. This, too, was God's guidance at work, turning her trial into a stepping stone for growth, her pain into a catalyst for compassion. These stories remind us that God's support isn't always a grand, miraculous intervention. It often manifests subtly, through people, events, or personal revelations. It's the stranger who lends a helping hand, the unexpected opportunity that changes our life's course, the inner strength we discover in our darkest moments. God's guidance does not promise a life without trials, but it does promise a life where trials become stepping stones to growth. So even in the face of adversity, we can find solace knowing that we are not alone. God's constant support is always with us, guiding us, lifting us up, and leading us towards a brighter tomorrow. God's promise is profound and powerful. I will never leave you nor forsake you. This assurance, this pledge, this vow is not just a collection of words. It's a beacon of light in our darkest nights, a gentle whisper in the silence, a steady hand guiding us through life's maze. This promise carries a significance that goes beyond the temporal. It reaches into the depths of our souls, providing comfort and strength in times of distress. It's like a soft blanket on a cold winter's night, a soothing balm for a wounded spirit, a firm anchor in a raging storm. Let's delve into a few stories, a few testimonials that illuminate the power of this promise. Imagine a woman. Let's call her Mary. Mary had been through it all: loss, heartbreak, disappointment. Yet in the midst of her trials, she found solace in the promise that she was not alone, that God was with her, and He would never forsake her. This assurance was her shield, her fortress, her refuge. Or consider John, a man who felt the cold sting of failure again and again. He felt abandoned by those he trusted, left to navigate the tumultuous waters of life alone. But in his darkest hour, he clung to the promise that he was not forsaken, that God was with him, guiding him, strengthening him. This promise was his compass, his lighthouse, his lifeline. These stories, these testimonials, are but a glimpse into the countless lives touched, transformed, and uplifted by the promise of never being forsaken. It's a promise that transcends time and space, a promise that echoes through the ages, a promise that brings hope to the hopeless and strength to the weary. The promise of never being forsaken is not just a comforting thought, it's a lifeline in the stormy seas of life. It's a reminder that amidst the chaos, the pain, the uncertainty, there is a constant, a steadfast presence that will never leave us. There is a promise, and it's profound and powerful. I will never leave you nor forsake you. In the face of life's challenges, where do we find our strength? How do we navigate the stormy seas? Life, as we've discussed, can often feel like a turbulent ocean, tossing us about with trials and tribulations. But remember, we are not left to face these storms alone. We've heard stories of faith amidst adversity, tales of individuals who found strength in their belief, who found solace in their trust in God. These stories serve as reminders that even when life seems unbearable, there is a source of strength that is unwavering. God's constant support is a beacon of hope in the face of life's challenges. God's love is not a fleeting emotion, but a steadfast promise. His assurance is not a mere wish, It is a pledge, a commitment. In times of hardship, it is His love that provides the strength to carry on, the courage to face our fears. His guidance is like a lighthouse guiding a ship through a storm. It doesn't remove the storm, but it illuminates the path, showing the way safely through. In the stories we've shared, we've seen how God's constant support and guidance have been a lifeline. From the depths of despair, from the throes of pain, from the grip of fear, these individuals found strength, found hope, found peace. They didn't just survive their trials, they emerged stronger, more resilient, more faith-filled. So, in our own lives, as we face our own trials, let's remember these stories. Let's remember that we are not alone, that God is with us, that He will never leave us nor forsake us. He is our strength when we are weak, our courage when we are fearful, our peace when we are troubled. In every challenge, in every trial, remember this: you are not alone. You have a guide, a beacon of hope. You have God. So let's face life's storms with faith, with hope, with courage, knowing that we are in God's loving hands.